Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes and I will be joined by Kevin McCluskey very soon to discuss the first half where Celtic have taken the lead at Celtic 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0. The goal coming from Giakoumakis, the man with the incredible goal scoring record. You can look at his record in many different ways, but what it always gives you is goals. I'm interested to bring in as many of you as possible, obviously, because I'm awaiting Kevin's arrival. Boheed Bob wasn't working, actually pretty awful, but 1-0, funny old game. We spoke, Boheed, about the attacking selected for tonight's game. It looked as though it could have well been a swashbuckling first half. We were predicting goal-scoring feats like the game against Partizan Belgrade 5-4. Doesn't look as though that's going to be the case, like you say, but quite frankly, when you're a goal up, that doesn't matter. It matters little. Barry McCluskey wants to see Haksabanovic release the ball a bit earlier. I'll tell you that there's no doubt about Haksabanovic's ability, but I take Barry's point. There was one moment where Greg Taylor was on the overlap and he's waited a wee bit too long, and by the time he's released the ball, he's lost it, he's lost possession. But let's talk, Barry, let's talk about the goal then, because Haksabanovic played a major role in it. I've been going on time and time again about this, the pass to the wingers from the centre-half position. So you've got Jens and Cameron Carter-Vickers, and they've been using this so effectively, mainly domestically, whereby they're missing out the fullbacks, the inverted fullbacks are missed out. It gets the opposition defenders right on the back foot, and that's exactly what happened tonight. You look at Jens getting that ball, playing it through to Haksabanovic, and it just cuts right through them. And that's exactly where we got that opening, because up until that point, did we have a clear-cut chance? There was a couple of half chances, I think. Nothing clear-cut. I remember writing that down here after 20 minutes. No clear-cut chances by Celtic at that stage. But Haksabanovic received that ball from Jens. It cut right through the Shakhtar defence. And of course, the ball was well weighted, I felt, and Abada goes in as he does. But the defender done really well. When that ball breaks to anybody in the box wearing a Celtic jersey, you want it to break to Giakoumakis, because he is dynamite in that position. I think Chris Sutton was talking about that in the first half. The ball falls to Giakoumakis and it's likely to be a goal, and that's exactly what happened. Brilliant finish, superb finish by Giakoumakis. That's his first European goal for Celtic. His record is astonishing. I'm going to throw this one out there. I'm not going to criticise any individuals, but I think in terms of the involvement in the game, Kyogo hasn't really been in the game. Am I missing anything? Let me know what you think. I wouldn't be making any change to the personnel or indeed the shape at this stage. I see a few comments coming in saying you don't think it's working. What would you do? Do you think he's going to do it at half-time? Ange is a bit of a creature of habit at times when it comes to making changes. I'm not so sure he'll make them because we're a goal up. But that's a good point in any case, Barry McCluskey. I really am interested to hear your take on that first half. While I wait on Kevin McCluskey coming in to assist for the half-time analysis, Paddy Lavery, it's good to see you on the YouTube, and hopefully I will see you in person in January when you come along to Gracie's to see Acsom live with Brian McClare. Our passing has been woeful, says Paddy, and that's a bit unusual for an Ange Postecoglou side. But I'll tell you, we haven't crafted that many clear-cut chances, but there has been a few. There have been a few moments where I think we need to discuss. I think that in that first half, you're going to struggle to find a better performer than Greg Taylor. I think Greg Taylor has been outstanding in that first half, and he's a player that we spoke about before the game. Kevin McCluskey and we spoke about the how revitalised he has been. He came into Celtic Park under Neil Lennon. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but it didn't look as though Lenny fancied him, did it? He didn't play a great deal of games, and obviously it was a difficult time, in that final season for Neil Lennon. But I'll tell you what he has done. He's proved himself under Ange Postecoglou. He has taken to the inverted fullback role like a duck to water. There were moments where he was winning the ball, breaking up a Shakhtar attack midway through that first half. And when the ball broke on the right, on the right wing. It broke to him. Greg Taylor had made his way from the centre of the park. He was in a right wing position. He played the ball inside. It didn't result in a shot at goal, but Greg Taylor has, for me, been the best performer in that first half. I think he's been absolutely excellent. There was one wee mistake, but thankfully behind him he had a defence that were able to sweep up for him. So let's bring in Ewan Boy Martin. Ewan does appear on the show from time to time. It's always a pleasure to see him travelling through to speak on a Celtic state of mind. So far, so good, says Ewan. Need to keep calm in the second half and try and score again. Another performer I would like to point out has been Matt O'Reilly. He's been getting a lot of praise on a Celtic state of mind recently. But when you look at his defensive performance in that first half, it's been absolutely vital, because we are playing with a slightly different shape, and I think that he has had to be that pivot. He's had to be that ball winner to try and release Hatate. Hatate has been in the game, not as much as I would like to see, but he has been in the game. Danny comes in on the YouTube. Danny, Lightify. Is it just me, or can Abada not pass? He just seems too inexperienced. He likes to score goals. But yeah, distribution-wise, we spoke before the game, Kevin and I, about how the team is going to benefit from this campaign, and I've no doubt they will, regardless of what the outcome's going to be at the end of the 6 games. But there are certain players who I don't think have, lit the tournament alight. And one of the players that I would suggest could be doing with a good performance or a goal is Abada. The other one would be Kyogo. I wanted Giakoumakis to get in the score sheet as well, but he has obliged with that excellent finish this evening. So unfortunately, Kevin won't be able to join us, but that's fine, because I'm quite enjoying speaking to you guys. In any case, as Ewan Boy Martin said, everything's going to plan so far. John has a slight concern with the crosses, saying that we need to beat the first man with the crosses. Absolutely we do, and I think that has been one of the most frustrating elements of the first half, is that we've not really had the opportunity to get the wingers in on the action. Haksabanovic has seen a wee bit more of the ball than Abada, but we need to get them more involved in the game. And as I said before the game, I think the way to do that is to cut through the midfield, cut through the full-backs, go straight from centre half to the wingers. And their favoured pass, the centre halves, is to O'Reilly. O'Reilly goes in, he picks it up, and he's looking for a bit of movement and some space. But if they miss out the midfield and cut through, you've seen how decisive that can be as well. Aero 250, welcome back to the show, sporting the very natty Celtic away strip, which is heading towards being one of the biggest selling Celtic away kits of recent times. No wonder, it's an absolute beautiful specimen. Need a second, Aero says, as this Shakhtar side are dangerous. Let's talk about their danger then. Before the game, we looked at the head-to-head between Juranovic and Mudryk. How do you think Juranovic has fared? I think he's done particularly well. There was a chance. I've got a note here. 41 minutes. It would have been a dreadful time. It really would have been a really dreadful time to concede a goal. Joe Hart stood up, saved the shot from Mudryk, and Celtic were able to clear the danger. So it was excellent by Joe Hart, and he's a player he's a goalkeeper who has come in for a bit of stick over the last wee while. Obviously, we were doing really well against Leipzig until we conceded the second goal, where obviously Joe Hart makes that mistake. And there was a bit of talk probably for a couple of days after that, quite a lot of comments coming in saying that he should be dropped. I thought that would have been a dangerous move, actually. Always, I would think really long and hard about dropping a goalie, because then, eventually you're looking to reintroduce them into the side, and you don't want to hamper their confidence. Would it do that to Joe Hart with the experience he's got? I think, anyone's capable of having their confidence knocked. So, no, I didn't agree with the fact that he should have been dropped. I don't think he has been dropped. I think that Siegrist will be given as much game time as possible in the League Cup. But Ange has been proven right by keeping his faith in Joe Hart. And tonight, and there has been other occasions where he's pulled off excellent saves since his wee spot of poor form. Stephen Wolf, if we had 9 more Greg Taylors this game, it would be ours already. He has been brilliant, isn't he, Stephen? And that flies against... It was interesting, Kevin reminded me that I was going on about our best left back being Juranovic, and I did. That was a comment I made more than once. But Greg Taylor has proven any of his doubters wrong, particularly those who didn't think he could play at this level, because he has been the best player in a Celtic jersey in the first half, in my opinion, for sure. And I really am looking forward to getting as many of your comments in as possible. Robert Ingram, brilliant, much more assured looking so far. I think, this is the thing, right? You've seen the starting 11 and you think, what a really, maybe a gung-ho approach, maybe a forward-thinking, attacking approach to the starting lineup. But it's not really been that game, has it, so far, Robert? But what we have seen is a very assured performance. There's been a couple of occasions where Shakhtar Donetsk have broken. We know how dangerous they can be. We know how good Mudryk is, how strong he is. But, I don't really think that we were under too much pressure. I wasn't happy with the possession. I think Shakhtar Donetsk seemed to take a grip of the game after the first 5-6 minutes. And I wasn't happy with that, particularly at Celtic Park. But did they really have our hearts in our mouths other than that one save from Joe Hart? Probably not. But that was a timely reminder of what they can do. They can cut through you, can't they? I'm going to bring in Nihilist Jack, who's got a few words to say about Abada. You reckon he's out of his depth in the Champions League? Get Forrest on. Haksabanovic, a great attacker, but his crossing dead ball is miles off. I would be loath to have that view on Abada at this stage. Prior to this season, he was one of many of the players who has never kicked a ball at this level. And I think that, his development, his progression since coming to Celtic as a 19-year-old, moving from his homeland, settling in, obviously having his companion with Nir Beaton, who's since departed, and that helped him a great deal. By the end of the season, he was one of our best performers across the piece, albeit much of those performances were domestically. So, yeah, I take that on board. And he's one of the guys that I've mentioned where I don't think he's lit up the tournament yet, and I think that he can do better. But I wouldn't say he's out of his depth. I think that, there are players who have adapted quicker than he has to these types of games. And, you just look at the goal. He's done everything right. It's been a very, very good block by the defender. If that goal goes in, and the confidence he would get from that, because that's the type of thing that's been happening as well in some of the domestic games where he's ghosted in, he's scored a goal, and that's been his main contribution in a lot of these games. So I'm not quite ready to write him off. I can see at some point, if it continues, that he will be replaced by Forrest. And also take your point on Hacks. I think he's a great talent, and I think that he was brilliant in that first goal. But there are occasions where, as Barry McCluskey says, he maybe holds onto the ball too long, or his final ball isn't quite what it could be. But these are little tweaks. These are players that are adapting. He's still new to the squad. He's new to this team under Ange. And I think Joe Porter probably agrees with my own sentiments on this. They are a decent team. Look at their results. They got a draw against Real Madrid, a team that we were all impressed with at Celtic Park. And they beat Leipzig. They absolutely humbled Leipzig 4-1. One of the shocks of the tournament. Sent ripples all across European football, that one. So, yeah, we are up against a really decent side. And we were disappointed when we didn't get the win away from home. And you know what? We're 1-0 up at half-time. It's looking good. Let's not make the same mistakes we did when we played them over in Poland. That's about half-time. I can see that. I can see some of you have tuned into the second half. That's almost half-time over in terms of the half-time bulletin. Please rejoin us at full-time if you want to support the channel. We just ask you to give us a thumbs up. Like the video. Also, I could have been at the game tonight. I gave my tickets away to a rock and roll star. I've not seen them yet being picked out by the cameraman. but he's at the game tonight. So like the channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to buy some of our merch, including this brilliant shamrock top from the 1950s and 60s, click on the link underneath the video and you can buy this and other garments from the Acsom online shop. Thanks everybody for joining me. Join me at full time again for another episode of A Celtic State of Mind.